Hey everyone, this is Teresa Hegel, Executive Editor of Special Projects and Sustainability at ASI.
And this is Cassie Green, Content Director of Apparelist and Editor at Printing United Alliance. And you're listening to Branding Together, a new adventure into the converging worlds of print and promo.
We're here to bring you an engaging monthly discussion that dissects just how closely each of these industries align. Whether you're a promotional products distributor, commercial printer, apparel decorator, or a little bit of everything, our topics and guests will bring the ultimate crossover conversation.
When you're ready to bring your business to the next level, get lost in this month's episode, which is set to happen in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Earth Month, aka April, also the month that I was born. So, it's a good month, right?
It's a great month.
Yeah. So this is the latest episode of Branding Together, and Cassie and I are going to dive into one of our favorite topics, sustainability. We have a very cool guest joining us later, a sustainable supplier who's also launched a simple but kind of brilliant movement to help reduce single-use plastic waste. But first, we're going to get to some headlines. So Cassie, do you want to start us off?
Sure, why not? Yay, happy Earth Month, everybody. My first headline, I guess is kind of tied into this. This is more of like ethical labor related, but it's L2 Brands earns the Fair Labor Accreditation. Try and say that 10 times fast. So L2 Brands, which is a company based in Hanover, Pennsylvania, and they specialize in custom logo apparel, headwear, accessories, all that good stuff. They got their Fair Labor Accreditation from the Fair Labor Association. The decision by the FLA Board of Directors follows a very rigorous multi-year review of L2 Brands business systems, and they evaluate things like compliance with international labor standards. It's all designed to protect workers in the global supply chain. So there's a lot that goes into earning this. For kind of some deeper explanation, L2 Brands sources from 18 contract factories across 8 countries. 2 of those are in El Salvador and the United States. So this is kind of a big deal, really cool progress that we're seeing be made in the sort of, ethical fair labor. There are several companies in our industry that have this accreditation. So it's nice to see real change happening.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think Bella Canvas made kind of a splash doing it a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big deal. So I know there's a lot of companies that are maybe participating members or do something with at the kind of collegiate level, but to have the actual accreditation is a much bigger deal, and it takes a long kind of time.
It does. Yeah.
All right. So my first big piece of news is actually kind of an internal ASI thing, but it does affect the whole promo industry. So it's kind of a big deal. ASI has named Ashish Mittal as the new CEO, replacing Tim Andrews, who retired at the end of March after 23 years with the company. Ashish brings experience scaling tech-driven platforms and commerce networks with leadership roles at Sticky.io, GoPuff, and ShopRunner. So the transition maintains ASI's family-led structure under the Cohn family, with Matthew Cohn and Stephanie Cohn-Schaefer stepping into the role of co-chairs and Chairman Norman Cohn becoming Chairman Emeritus. I never know how to say that. Emeritus? Emeritus?
Sounds good to me.
I don't know. You guys know what I mean, but it's,
Boy, we really picked some headlines with some really, they're words we all know, but they're hard to say out loud.
It's the plight of being a reader. I used to think there was a word epitome and epitome.
Oh,
But,
well, fair.
it's like you read the words, and then when you have to say them out loud, bad things can happen.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. This is harder than it sounds, people. Awesome. All right. Time for my second headline, I guess. Drupa Insights go online. And so Drupa Insights, just for the record, is the name of this platform. And so this launched last month in March as a new digital knowledge platform for Drupa. Just weeks after the opening of the exhibitor registration, the trade fair for printing solutions is expanding its information offering with continuous market and future analyses for the international print and packing industry. So this is kind of big for not only the industry as a whole, but kind of for us over at the Alliance, speaking of internal news sharing, the format was developed in cooperation with our research platform, which is called Alliance Insights. And so we've kind of partnered with Drupa to really, create this knowledge-based platform, primarily in the European side of things. Access is available via one-time free registration on the Drupa website. So kind of cool. Again, this is just about providing the industry with the research, data points, information it needs kind of in a more global scope through this partnership. So pretty exciting stuff.
Awesome. Any more like education we can give to the industry is always a good thing.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so my last piece of news is another ASI thing. I know this is very self-serving, but we've got a lot of big things happening, so we got to share.
Right.
So I just was going to share that ASI Fort Worth wrapped up last month in March. It's the largest promo trade show in the Southwest, set a post-pandemic attendance record, attracting companies from
Ooh.
47 states and 5 countries. There were 514 distributor and supplier companies from Texas alone. So it's a big deal, and it's nice to see, shows finally bouncing back and getting to these levels that were closer to what things were before the pandemic. So the show was packed with educational opportunities, including a keynote address by Nick Friedman, co-founder of College Hunks Hauling Junk and Moving. Um, and then also some of the trends on the show floor included America 250 themed Made in the USA merch, experiential and participatory promo like custom pen making kits from Numo, and then sensory items like plush toys with like memory foam ears or fidget popper bellies. So there's a lot going on. We have tons of coverage on our website, but we're going to link in the show notes the kind of wrap up that takes you to everything that we covered and everything that happened.
Yeah. What a great way to sort of look at the barometer, the temperature of the industry, breaking a record. That's so, first of all, congratulations. But also, again, it shows that hunger and thirst for getting out there, learning about new technologies, finding out the new trends, and really just looking to connect with each other. And I think that's what a strong indication of like good, healthy industry that's ready to rock.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So before we dive into our interview, I did want to have a little discussion with you just about sustainability in general. In the print, promo, and apparel industry, this is something that we've both been very focused on in our publications. And I think a lot of the time, the topic can get a little grim, especially when you focus on, how far we have to go in terms of our carbon impact, reducing waste, and just, all the things that haven't happened yet or all the kind of bad news. And it's important to focus on that, of course. But
Right.
we also need to focus on the wins when we can, even if they're small. So I just wanted to uh, kind of have a little discussion on like, let's pick out a couple of wins we can think of and, let's celebrate a little.
Yeah, I love this because as a perpetually positive person, I love a good alliteration, I'm sorry. Um, I love focusing on what's positive. So glad we're doing this. I guess I'll kick things off. My first win is I think this is important to realize as a win is the implementation of extended producer responsibility laws, the EPR laws that we're seeing growing in the US. So, there are challenges that come
Mhm.
with these sorts of things, right? Anytime you do big legislation like this that is requiring people to provide, recycling programs, give back programs, you have to have the infrastructure to support it, right? And so you're now talking, okay, you have to have physical locations where people can give things back. You have to have companies that process everything and pick everything up and then find something to do with it. However, why this is a win is because this is real physical, actionable change. And it's, especially in California, I've really been following along with that one just because it was kind of the first one in the US. It's kind of a big deal. And they are making progress there. They've selected a company to sort of handle and oversee the entire legislation and the implementation of it. And so, as we continue to see things like this go into law or at least become regulations that we need to follow, guidance, anything like that, anytime there's action, I consider that a huge win.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
pretty excited to see that. I know there's several other states considering this. I believe Washington State is already looking into something like this. I'm sure Colorado's not far behind. Typically, we over here
Yeah.
in the mountainous state like like to do these types of things. So yeah, very to me, this is very exciting progress.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a big change. It's a big overhaul. It can be a little scary for people, but if we don't make big changes, like nothing's going to improve. Nothing's going to happen. So I think that's
Right.
positive for sure. So I
Yeah.
think one of my big wins in the promo industry just over the last few years, I've been impressed with how many suppliers are and distributors are doing uh, like getting certified, getting certifications through like EcoVadis
Yeah.
or B Corp. I mean, yes, it's still not everybody, but definitely we're seeing a lot more people, going through that EcoVadis process. I'm even seeing more like EcoVadis like golds and platinums than we ever really saw before. So that shows that there's this progress is actually being made. People are taking it seriously. People are getting a little bit more, methodical about it and realizing that it's, not just a nice to have, but it's kind of a must have.
Yeah, I do love that. And you, I feel like in particular, have done such a good job covering those types of stories when somebody receives that EcoVadis certification. And so you're helping create the awareness and spreading it to people who may not know about it or have as much information or may find motivation to do it themselves and all that stuff. So, yeah, I fully agree. And just as a little nod and a little teaser, the Sustainable Merch Summit, which we're both a huge part of this month on Earth Day, my panel will sort of discuss and dive into certifications a little bit deeper. So I agree. Huge win when you see companies
Yeah.
getting these types of
Yeah.
certifications. And it could be, there's a lot of different ones,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think one of the like EcoVadis seems to sort of be becoming one of the standards in the promo industry, which makes sense because it's kind of supply chain focused and promo is a very supply chain oriented kind of industry.
Yeah,
But yes, there's plenty of different ones, and it really, in some ways, it's just important that you're doing something and you're getting, a baseline so that you have something to measure against and that you can start working on reductions. Because if you don't know where you are, you can't. Where can you go? You don't know where to go.
great.
So I just have one more kind of win, and it piggybacks on the whole idea of the Sustainable Merch Summit. So I think another win is just the fact that we have so much more education related to sustainability and events like the Sustainable Merch Summit. People are talking about this. People are hungry for more information. And, this, it's not just a niche topic anymore. So, we have the whole virtual event, but just even like I feel like in any kind of story that you write or any kind of news about what a company is doing, there is some sort of element of sustainability sort of baked into it. So I like that it's just becoming the norm and it's just something we talk about. It's not a trend. It's not something that is going in and out of fashion. It's the day to day. This is part of doing business and it's part of something that we should be talking about all the time.
Agreed. Agreed. And just again, the action that everybody has started to take is really great. And that sort of piggybacks into another win I really wanted to share. And this is something I noodle on quite a bit. So, one of the, I don't want to use the word easiest, but for lack of a better term, one of the easiest ways to make sure we're being sustainability focused with textiles is obviously donating, repurposing, reusing our apparel for other things, or making sure, you can donate them to lots of different places, making sure other people use them, especially if they still have lots of life left, or, turning them into rags, whatever. There's lots of great ways that you can recycle and reuse your textiles. However, that sort of grew into this behemoth of over donation, right? And so that is sort of an issue also. You have all the people who bought into this fast fashion mindset, now have all the, have clothes and they're like, what am I going to do with these? I'll just donate them. Okay, great. Like on the surface, that's a great thought process, right? And we could go into the whole you shouldn't have bought fast fashion in the first place, but we're going to save that topic for another day.
We're being positive here. So
Right. We're being positive. The positive part of this is when you do start to see stories like when there's a natural disaster and people are donating things, a lot of times we're seeing an over donation of clothing and clothing that's not necessarily useful. And while people's hearts are in the right place, that's really tough. I was just introduced to this company called Misfit Misprints, who is they're very new, but they're trying to deal with those sorts of scenarios where if there is a disaster area or a massive donation or a trade show or something like that, they are working to take any excess garments and find other homes or other ways to use them. So they're either giving them to places that do need the clothing, like domestic abuse shelters, foster care homes, things like that, or they're sending them to be repurposed into like home insulation, furniture stuffing, things like that. So they're also finding for those garments that maybe got donated but aren't necessarily
Yeah.
wearable.
Right.
They're finding other uses. So they're sort of serving as that, like, not middleman, but
Mhm.
they're serving as that person who can help with those things so that these excess donations of apparel aren't just becoming another issue caused by a natural disaster. There's not just piles of clothing laying in the streets or things like that. So that's a really positive thing. We're starting to see more things. Marine Layer, I think, has a very similar program to this.
Yeah.
Um,
Everywhere Apparel, if you've
er-
heard of that,
uh,
they do.
they were on my list as well. Everywhere Apparel does this. So this is great. We're seeing, again, more and more companies are doing that, digging a little deeper, being a little more mindful of the long game, not just the short game.
Yeah, and
So
that's so important.
it is.
Well, I love that. I don't have any more wins. Not that there aren't more wins, but I
Right.
think this is a good kind of foundation. I'd love to hear if other people who are listening or watching have some sustainability wins that they want to share. I'd love to hear it. But I think we can sort of introduce our guests now. Our guest today is Julie Schneiderman, founder and CEO of EcoSticks, custom fabric sticker patches made from Reprieve recycled polyester. She also launched the Skip the Lid, Savor the Moment movement. I knew I was going to stumble over that. Skip the Lid, Savor the Moment movement, encouraging people to order their coffee without the single use plastic lid. So, we're going to be talking with her about all of that and more. And I'm so excited to have her on the show today.
Achieve color consistency, efficiency, and precision with G7 Plus certification, the industry's gold standard for color management. Whether you're in packaging, commercial print, or digital production, G7 Plus ensures neutral gray balance and visual consistency across all applications, helping you reduce waste and improve quality. And getting certified has never been easier. Choose from live in-person training for hands-on experience, live online training for real-time learning from anywhere, or on-demand training for flexible, self-paced education. No matter your schedule, there's a G7 Plus certification option for you. Printing United Alliance members save 20% on all courses and certifications. Stay ahead of the curve, view training options, and get certified at printing.org/G7 Plus. G7 Plus is here, the next evolution in print calibration and color management. Built on the trusted G7 methodology, G7 Plus delivers even greater gray balance accuracy, improved tonality, and optimized color control across all printing technologies. This advanced standard helps reduce waste, improve consistency, and ensure seamless print reproduction. And getting certified has never been easier. Choose from live in-person training, live online training, or on-demand courses to fit your schedule. Printing United Alliance members save 20% on all courses and certifications. Stay ahead of the curve, get G7 Plus certified at printing.org/G7 Plus.
Well, I'm so excited to have you with us today, Julie. It's going to be a great conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
For anyone, any of our listeners who may not know you or be familiar with the brand, can you just give us a little bit of background about how you got into the industry? What led you to create EcoSticks? Give us the history.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first, super excited to be here. I love the promotional products industry. If you asked me 5 years ago when I started EcoSticks that we would be having this conversation, I would have thought you were you were crazy. Because EcoSticks was really developed out of my love of surfing and the ocean. And it's a product I invented basically to create community and connection within the ocean and surfers. And it was this innovative product design. So to talk a little bit about the product and why it's really unique, I'll start there. in order to decorate wetsuits, they have to be stretchy, they had to be waterproof, they had to be, you couldn't heat, you can't sew, and of course, they have to be good for the environment. And so, through that product creation and coming up with this concept of how to connect surfers with other surfers and artists and bands and merch, things like that, we ended up designing this really cool, innovative product called an Eco Stick. And through that, our biggest failure actually became our biggest success because they didn't actually end up sticking on wetsuits. But it
Oh,
turns out they stuck to everything else, right? And so, like, we started sticking them on
awesome.
surfboards and surf bags and water bottles and backpacks. And pretty soon, our logos, our merch was like everywhere. And it wasn't at all what I thought of when originally thinking about what EcoStix was going to be. So that was kind of the impetus of how it started. And then kind of fast forward, I had a big art warehouse in Santa Barbara. It was called Stick and Stuck Creative Studios. It was this really cool creative collaboration space where artists and photographers and musicians and nonprofits and athletes, we'd all come together and do really creative events, from pop-ups to open mic nights to comedy shows, all sorts of things like that. But it also became kind of the next birthplace of EcoStix. Started in my garage, ended up into this beautiful like art warehouse. Then we started getting into like merch, right? For bands and nonprofits and musicians. And then I was like, whoa, this is so crazy. We went from wetsuits to like merch for nonprofits for sharing, different ideas. And then from there, it was like, okay, I was invited to be part of PPAI Expo and walk the floor. And I saw, oh my gosh, this next phase of EcoStix and how we could participate in something even bigger, right? So here we are at this next phase of our journey, from ocean to garage to art warehouse, now to the promotional products industry.
Yeah, yeah. I want to talk a little bit more about like how you found your way into the promo industry because, like you said, like 5 years ago, you never would have expected to be here. And I think a lot of people just don't even know that this industry exists, let alone
Mhm.
thinking like, oh yeah, I need to get into it. So I'm just curious, like how you got that invite, how you sort of found your way into promo, but also, why are the Eco Sticks patches? Why are they such a good fit in the promo space? Why does it
Yep.
work?
So, and I totally agree with you. A lot of people don't know about the industry, myself included, even though we have been interacting with the industry for probably our whole lives, right? We've all been receiving merch. We've all been seeing, band sweatshirts. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. Like, I have every poster imaginable from a musician. But I don't think we thought about the back end of how the industry worked. And so as a consumer, I hadn't yet had that experience of like, oh, well, how did I actually get these products? Where did they come from? And so that's what was really fun about going to the PPAI Expo. And it was a convention center. And it's hard to even explain to people what is there until you go to PPI Expo. And football fields.
And I'm sorry, I'm
Yes.
going to interrupt you just to say we also have ASI
ASI shows.
shows too.
Sorry. We have. I'm only going.
I mean, PPI Expo is great, but I just want to plug ASI shows and Printing United Expo. We have tons of shows in our industry, not just PPAI. Not that there's anything wrong
Nope,
with
it's
PPAI.
just my origin story. It's just like how my first
No, I
story.
know. I'm not trying to. I'm not going to pretend they don't exist. I just want to
Yeah,
plug our stuff too.
perfect.
Oh,
Well, so a promo expo. And what I guess I didn't realize, just convention centers full of promotional products. And for me, what was the most, I guess I would say, jarring is how much plastic there was and how much single-use plastic was happening in giveaways. And it was a bit of a punch in the stomach for us because everything EcoStick stands about is, upcycling, recycling plastic, bringing awareness to single-use plastics, making the world, a little bit more eco-aware. And then to see convention centers of like, oh, people are just giving it away. And so I just felt that there was a place for EcoSticks in the promotional products industry as an and to the industry, right? Like, sustainability was definitely starting to become a topic. we have a sustainable product, right? We were made from recycled water bottles. You could also use our eco sticks to repair, to upcycle. We use like old merch. Like here's an example of like a cozy that had somebody else's logo on it. You put eco sticks on it, then it doesn't end up in the landfill. We saw a lot of different use cases that we could help contribute, because I was thinking like, well, what happens to all that swag that doesn't get used, and can we be a solution for that? Or hey, can we help you decorate products with using our sticker patches from recycled water bottles in a way that you hadn't anticipated? Or um I thought about like, how could we help just bring awareness to a lot of it products end up in the landfill. Let's think about maybe different ways of doing things. Um, so that was the kind of initial way of how we got into the promotional products industry. But I would definitely say the most exciting part for me is actually the people and the industry itself. I
The
love
relationship industry
yeah,
for
I love
sure.
the industry. Like as soon as I walked in the floor, it wasn't just the products, it was the people. Kind, passionate, generous, wonderful, like so inviting and collaborative. And then I thought to myself, the promotional products industry is huge. It's $1 billion industry. We are a collective. Yes,
27.7.
we are a collective
Well,
of
yeah, yeah.
humans that can actually create change if we kind of put all of ourselves together. And so I just thought to myself, we can all be micro influencers, either in our own lives, in the promotional product lives. And it doesn't have to be, we're not perfection. We just ask people to participate, right? Like, showcase a
Yeah.
sustainable product, maybe skip some plastic yourself that day, maybe ride a bike instead of a car, all these little things. But when you think about our industry as a whole, when they all add up, that's huge impact. That's what gets me excited.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like, so I mean, like, obviously the product that you're offering is cool and innovative and has a lot of use, but what you also are bringing to the industry is your ethos and like the thought leadership and just trying to kind of make change. So it's more than just the product that you've brought into
Yeah.
promo.
I guess I'm just trying to provide an opportunity to rethink the way that we've been doing things. And promotional products aren't going to go away. We all love promotional products. I just came in as an outsider, not knowing anything about the industry, just thinking like, I wonder if we can do things just a little bit different. And that one was thinking about introducing products in a different way of upcycling, or what happens to the life of a product after you give it away, to thinking about us as a collaborative, as an ability to be a community that creates change, I think is really great. And then I think this next level is just seeing the trends of the industry, right? So 5 years ago, sustainability was the topic. Now it's on-site brand activations, which is really cool, right? It's all about creating connection. But my question about, from my background with my art warehouse, is what kind of connection are we trying to create? And what, as an organization, can we do to influence the kinds of connections based on what's actually happening around us in the world, right? So community and art spaces are closing. There's not enough places for creatives to showcase their work. Brands are looking for new ways to connect with customers. Customers are weary of being on their phones all the time, right? So like, how do we have these huge opportunities of like, wait a minute, we're actually have brand activations where we're gathering people. Why aren't we using that as these like mini art warehouse opportunities of like, bring an artist, have them talk about their creative process, right? Do a limited edition EcoSticks run of art. The artist talks about their creative process. They're applying it to their water bottle. They're getting this like 4-dimensional experience. They walk away with a unique piece of art. The artist gets to share their story, which they so desperately want to, and they get connection. And the brand gets long-lasting followers because they're like, whoa, you just helped me learn something and create and be a better part of society and connect to something bigger than myself. And so that's where I feel like the next layer in the promotional products industry is like, let's think about, yeah, that's the norm, but how could we actually make it that much better?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's crazy because that is one of the things Teresa and I were talking about earlier in this episode is all of the positive change that we are seeing in this industry, and it's led by actionable things. And you're right, it's about how can we have this mindset of thinking different, thinking better, pushing the boundaries of implementing real change. And I'm so glad you brought up activations and, these live experiences because that is where it's at right now. You could not have said it in a better way. Everybody is doing this right now, and there are a lot of benefits to it. You kind of talked about some of the impact. I'm curious though, like you started to mention this a little bit, but are there any specific projects or live activations or experiential marketing, innovations that EcoStix is doing specifically you can share with us? Just kind of talk about what you
Yeah,
guys are
yeah.
doing.
So let's see, one that's coming up next weekend. So we are partnering with Coffee Culture Festival. It's the first time festival in Santa Barbara where they're bringing artists, the coffee industry, creatives, and community together for this festival. And it's incredible, right? So we're now using this space to then bring in baristas, right, that are doing like a coffee throwdown. We are bringing in different partners. There's different community groups that are showing up. EcoStix is there. We created custom EcoStix sticker patches for the Coffee Culture Festival, which they're using and integrating into their own platform. They're using them for donations for the event. They're using them to support artists. We are actually going to also be there with our Skip for the Planet, Skip the Lid, Savor the Moment campaign, right? Because that's part of, bringing awareness to single-use plastics, reducing single-use plastics. So that's a kind of interactive experience that we are part of and helping create. And that's where I see that synergy in the
Yeah.
future with activations.
Yeah, yeah.
Coffee cheers to that.
Yes.
Coffee cheers.
I think that what's so cool with talking about the activations and the experiential marketing is, yes, it requires a very like kind of creative mind, and I love the idea of actually leaning into artists who are creative by nature. That's just what they do. So like, why wouldn't we, want to help and like work with artists to make the experience that much better? I think it's such a cool idea, and you're right. Like any like a brand activation and experience, like it's very cool, but like how do you take it to the next level? And it makes sense to bring in artists and bring in like just like a very creative mindset. But you did bring up the skip the lid, savor the moment movement, which is something I really wanted to talk to you about. I think I noticed that on social media. Like I love being connected with you on various platforms because you're so passionate about sustainability and moving beyond just talking about it to actually doing something. And I remember I saw that the skip the lid, savor the moment, post that you were doing. I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, what is this? So I'd love to have you kind of explain what this movement is, like how it started, and then sort of like just where it's going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for letting me share about that. It is one of my big passions at the moment. So it originally started with this idea that I went to get coffee, forgot my reusable cup, and I ordered coffee, and a plastic lid came on my coffee automatically, and I was gonna drink it there. And then I thought to myself about how often we're given plastic without either A, asking for it, realizing that we actually have a choice not to have it, and that we just have to ask to, hey, can you skip the lid? Right. So it created this kind of concept in me of like thinking about how much plastic we're getting automatically and how it didn't used to be like that, right? And it was a bit of an extension of a story that happened before, about a month before, when I was at dinner with my family, and I looked over, and this girl around 10 years old, her and her dad were there for dinner, and the waitress brought him a water in a cup and brought her a water in a plastic cup with a plastic lid and a plastic straw. And I thought to myself, when did we start serving our children plastic, like as the norm, without her asking for it, without the dad asking for it? And you could visibly see how upset they were, and they asked to, take the plastic back and give her a regular cup. And I just thought, it's become so automated. And right. So that was the kind of thought about plastic. And then I shared my experience about Skip the Lid on LinkedIn. And it was like you, all of a sudden, I had all these people sending me them skipping the lid at their coffee and just saying the same thing like, wow, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even realize I've been drinking through plastic all this time, or that I could not, or, you know? And so from there,
Mhm,
we got
mhm.
some folks on board. This another athlete, Margot Ridgway, she connected with me, never had met before, through LinkedIn, shared the same passion, and now we built this out, and we're turning it into a nonprofit with a fiscal sponsorship, Skip for the Planet. And since Skip is an action movement, we're going to do the Skip the Lid is Savor the Moment is just the first initiative, and just finding ways of being better for the planet just by skipping it, like just not partaking. And that's easy because it doesn't cost anything. It's like all it is time. You might have to slow down, you know, like it's something that's super easy that we just forgot we knew how to do.
Yeah, I
Mhm,
love that.
mhm. You point out, you make a really good point here. It's like a really easy habit to change. You know, it's skip the lid. It's don't bring me a straw. It's when you are doing takeout food, don't take the plastic silverware. These are sort of everyday habits that we can make the mindful choice to change. And so, why do you think, or in your opinion, your observation, why do you think these small behavioral shifts have such a big
Yep,
environmental
there's a lot of
impact?
research behind it that shows like when you have community impact and participation, it tends to have a greater impact on the environment. So what I see is that especially now with social media is when you see somebody doing something, there's a lot of copying or influencing, right? I mean, influencers are like the biggest thing. So this is just
Yeah.
another influencing platform, and that's why it works, is because once you see one person and then another, and that's what we've been experiencing with Skip the Lid. It was like, oh, okay, so Margot, and then more people, and the more times I post, other people show me involved. It's so fun when I get random pictures of coffee, lidless coffees from all over the world now, even down in Philippines. So it's just it's impactful because we all get to feel like we're bigger than something than ourselves. And you can think about the impact, right? Like if we have 1 billion people on the planet, if just 1% just didn't use a lid, think about how many lids that is in one given year. Like that's huge. So I think in part that's why it works, plus it's super easy. I want to stress that, like, right,
I know.
so much around the environmental impact, one, it's doom and gloom, it's really tough. What I'm trying to create is something hopeful, positive, easy. It's a behavior change that will hopefully influence others, and it's also about being assertive, because what we're saying around plastic is you actually have to say something. You have to stand up for yourself and say, no lid, please. No straw, please. And you don't, it feels
Mhm.
weird that we actually have to do that now. But in order to create change, we have to say something, or it will just be automatically given to us.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I love everything about that. But kind of continuing on like this theme of small sustainability habits, and you being an outsider coming into the promotional products industry, and just being kind of floored or um, you know upset, with all the plastic and all the things that you saw. I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of the word,
Just,
like the words are escaping me.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just, overwhelmed by like what you sort of have seen. I'd love to know if there's a specific kind of sustainability habit that you wish everyone in the promotional products and apparel industries would adopt. Like what's the small change that we could make as an industry that would have the biggest impact? Obviously, there's plenty of large changes that should happen, but what is like one small thing we can all do?
I think, what's the small thing I think already seeing that's happening is when you are talking about promotional products, thinking about the full life cycle of the product and talking about that with our customers too, is how they see this, because it's their brand from today to 20 years from now, and how they want their merch, their brand to look, and have that conversation now. I think we're all so much more aware of the impact, and having those conversations early, I think that's one of the biggest things that we can do. And and in addition to that, like I was saying before, just the fact that we are empowering ourselves all to be micro influencers, and we're not going to, the little things that we do create change. And just having a conversation of like, here's one sustainable option, or here's, a nonprofit the promotional products industry is supporting that maybe you might be interested in, or like you said in the conversation, getting creative. Hey, is there a way that we can integrate one of your programs you're already supporting inside your marketing campaign that would integrate with your promotional products, right? Like helping them think about different ways of bringing more meaning to their merch.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's sort of like starting more conversations, actually taking a step back and asking the questions. Like, don't just do everything, oh, this is the way we've always done it, or like, just don't do it sort of like by rote, by, like this routine that we're all in. Like, let's sort of like skip something, or break the cycle and do something
Yeah.
different.
And I should also say that in the why I'm so passionate about this industry is having podcasts and folks like you that are willing to explore and have these conversations and give voice to people trying to, influence, make a change, be part of something bigger. Without that, I would have no voice. So it's really great.
Hey, we're all about the action. And when we see people taking action, we are here to help propel that forward and also change our own habits. I have also started skipping the lid on the rare occasion I go get coffee from a shop. But I love it because as soon as I found out about this, I was like, what an easy thing. I'm going to skip the lid.
It's so easy and fun,
So,
right? Like that's the idea too.
Right.
Is I do want to
Right.
remember we're supposed to be
Yes.
having fun, and life seems a little less fun these days. So whenever
right.
we can integrate it, I'm all
Yes.
for it.
Right. Right. So, talking a little bit about future forecasting, long term change that we're all working for right now. When you think about the next 10 years in the industry, what gives you the most hope, the most positive feelings about sustainability in the print and promo industries?
I just think in 10 years, it's going to be a collective. That's it. We're all going to have to figure out how to work together to make change, create cool merch, to support what each other and brand marketing. It's going to feel much more that we're in this group aligned all to achieve the same goal, because ultimately, if you look at it, we're all in it for the same reasons, right? Connection, growth, collaboration, sharing our stories, getting connected with the end user. That's my experience. From a surfer to an artist to a brand to a distributor to a supplier, it's all the same. But for whatever reason, it seems like we've all been working in a silo. And I see in the 10 years, it's going to be a much more ingrained, collaborative, creative experience.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's
love
something
it.
that the drum that we've been beating, right? With the idea of convergence between print and promo and apparel. Like these are all kind of, they see themselves as separate industries, but we're all sort of like one big happy family. It's all connected. And that's part of why we started this podcast, Branding Together,
Yeah.
to, bring everybody together into the same conversation. So this has been like a really enlightening and fun conversation. But we're going to go even one step funner, because that's what we do for the last question. So your question is, if you could transform into an animal at will, what animal would it be and why? And I have some guesses all you might say, but I want to see if you're going to
I
surprise
probably
me.
won't. I would want to be a dolphin. I mean, I love the
Okay, that's what I thought.
I love the
That's about right.
ocean. I love, the fact that they make songs and they talk and communicate to one another. I love that they're in pods, that they have community. I love that they like to be touched and caressed and like be part of something bigger than themselves. They're just so cute. I just think, and when I've been in the ocean and had like thousands of dolphins come around me at one point. It was so amazing and transformative, just in, out. I just saw the beauty in that. And I thought to myself, like, that would be so cool to be part of that pod. So yeah, a dolphin for sure.
Yeah,
I
I'm getting strong
you're going to
dolphin
say some
energy.
kind of sea creature, but
Yeah.
You just never know. Sometimes people surprise me with their answers, but that was a great
Sure.
answer. Even if it wasn't
Wow.
surprising, it was great.
Have you guys answered your own question?
Sometimes people try to
Sometimes,
make us. Sometimes we
yeah.
skip out of it, you know.
Shapeshifters.
I don't know. I think a dolphin does. Yeah, a dolphin does seem like a good answer. I think I could get on board with that.
So every night at dinner, my family and I, we have like questions we ask each other. And every once in a while, we'll ask about like, what would be your superhero power? Or if you could like fly, where would you go? And all this stuff. So one of the popular questions is, what animal would you be? And so
Yeah.
I've had a lot of time to think about this. I would be a tiger.
Ooh, tiger. Okay.
Tigers are cool.
I like it.
Just because they're cool. What's the reasoning behind it, though?
Well, I'm not cool like a tiger, but I want to be
I think they're
cool like a
as hell.
tiger. I don't know. They're underrated.
Okay.
Everybody always thinks that lions are the most powerful cat and coolest cat, but I'm like, nah, tigers are way cooler.
And
They have
they're
stripes.
more they're more stylish because they've got
Oh, yeah.
stripes.
And they look so
Exactly.
cool when they sleep. You know, when they're lying, sleeping on a rock,
Right.
you're already like, that's cool.
See? Man, that would
Yeah,
level up
they
my
look
cool so
sleeping.
much.
So every other cool is just cooler than that.
Perfect.
Totally. All right. Well, Julie, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining
Thank you
us
for
today.
having me. I really appreciate it. I love this industry and I love being part of it. So thank you.
All right. So we're on to the last section of the show. So last year for Earth Month, if you recall, Cassie, you came up with a short quiz of sustainability facts and stats for me. I don't remember how I did. I should have looked it up so I could kind of compare how you do compared to me, but it doesn't matter. So this year I'm going to quiz you. All right. Are you ready?
I am, but I'm a little nervous because I'm like, man, I don't know. Let's
All
go.
right, so-
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm going to give you some questions. Come up with your best, closest answer. How many single-use coffee cups are used annually in the U.S.?
Oh my God. I want to say, let's go like 500 million.
So according to the stats I found, more than 30 billion.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was going to be B with a billion. I was a little concerned.
Okay.
But I was
Next
under.
question.
Ugh.
Next question. How many single-use plastic water bottles does the average American use in a year?
The average
so
American.
one American.
An
yeah.
individual. So like me, like if I
Yeah.
was thinking, okay, does the average American use in a year? Let's go 100.
It's pretty close. More than 150. 150 plus is the
Okay.
stat we
Man,
have.
I'm so disappointed in people right now. Here we are being so positive.
Yeah. Well, okay. The stats are a little bit of a bummer, but it is what it is.
It's
So
fine.
approximately how long does it take for a plastic bottle to decompose?
Oh, isn't it something like, oh, it's a lot of years. It's something like, what is it, like 200 years or something? It's high.
So about 450 years
450,
ish.
okay.
I think there's some like variation, but definitely in the hundreds. So
Yeah.
that's important to think about. And then what's the average use time of a plastic bag before it's thrown away?
Well, let me base this on, I know that the average human only wears a garment like 7 times before they throw it away, which again makes me want to vomit a little. So plastic bag, I'm going to, man, in the spirit of positivity, I'm going to go higher. Let's go like 20 times, but I hope it's better.
So this is based in like minutes or hours. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not times used, but the use time.
okay.
So don't go positive because you'll be
No.
wrong.
Because I'll be sad.
Yeah.
Womp. I mean, in minutes and hours? It's in minutes and hours? Oh, God.
Or just minutes.
Or just minutes? Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? I'm so disappointed in America right now. Fine. How about 30 minutes?
12 minutes.
What?
12 minutes. That's the stat that I think it was from the United Nations Environment Program that stat comes from. All right, I got
Dang
2
it.
more quick questions. About how many plastic bags are used worldwide every year?
Are these single-use plastic bags?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
plastic film bags?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be like 800 billion, excuse me, something like that.
About 5 trillion.
Trillion. God.
All right. Final question. What percentage of plastic is recycled?
Oh, probably only like 5%.
So it's about 9%, I think, of the plastic ever produced gets recycled. And that's according to, I think, the OECD and some other studies. But yeah, it's not really gone above like 10%.
I'm sad.
I
For the
know.
record, people, I use a company called Ridwell, and they do recycle my multi-layer plastic and my plastic film. And it's not just that it's sometimes it does go through the recycling process, but they are repurposing it into other things like Trex decking and things like that. So come on, guys, we can do this.
Yep, there's things we can do. So this was more of like, obviously we tried to keep most things positive, but this was a little bit of a wake up call at the end, just to kind of keep us, honest with like the stats and whatnot. We do have a lot of work to do, but this was a great conversation. And we'll be back again next month with some even better
That's right.
stuff.
Thanks.